My name is Fang Ping. Today's date is the 5th of April, 2008, and the location is Yang City First High School, 3rd year class 4. I have just accepted a shocking reality. I have been brought back 10 years into the past. No, it would be more accurate to say that I was taken into a parallel world 10 years ago. Because there is a little difference between here and my past life. A brown-haired boy comes and says to me in Chinfan, "We still have 2 days to register for a martial arts subject. Are both of us going to register?" The NCE, National College Entrance Examination, still exists. However, there is one extra subject, martial arts. Chinfan says to the boy that the registration fee is $10,000, and he knows that he won't pass and that registering will just be a waste of money. I thought in my mind, the registration fee is $10,000. The brown-haired boy says he also wants to register since this is the only way for a normal person to become someone extraordinary. Another boy comes to us and loudly asks, "Brothers, did we watch yesterday's news?" Boy says that Grandmaster Ma managed to break through into grade 8, and the Chi group has officially challenged the Asian Pacific Guji's chairman, Tai Mui. A brown-haired boy shockingly says, "What? Is this real?" Chinfan says that he thought that Master Ma had only broken through to grade 7 a few years ago. I am blankly looking at them. I am confused about what they are saying. My whole classroom is whispering. The boy says, "It's real. It's on the CCT report." The brown-haired boy says, "Have the Grandmaster rankings been updated? Grandmaster Ma might enter the top 30. The boy says he thinks he should at least be in the top 20. I thought in my mind, so things are like that. Luckily, I also watched iSky shows in my past life. After listening to their conversation about the Grandmaster and his grade, being a Grandmaster should be a high-class job. I asked Chinfan, "Is Grandmaster Ma Hua Peng?" Chinfan furiously says to me, "It's disrespectful to talk about Grandmaster Ma using his name." I said to myself, "It really is Ma Hua Peng." I said to Chin, "I'm so sorry. Something must be wrong with my mouth." I said to myself, "It might seem suspicious if I ask too many questions. I should rather search for the answers online." I asked Chinfan, "Is there an internet cafe nearby our school?" Chinfan says to me, "Of course there is. Don't I always go there? I haven't been there in a very long time." I said to myself, if the internet cafe is still there, then that gorgeous cafe manager should still be there as well, right? I still remember that when I was in school, she would always appear in my dreams doing some embarrassingly naughty things. She grabbed my chin while I was looking at her cleavage and asked me, "What am I looking at?" An internet cafe appears. I spit after looking at the outlandish girl sitting at the reception of the internet cafe. I said to myself, do I have poor taste? When I was young, my memories were really different when compared to reality. An outlandish girl excitedly asks me, "Little brother, do I want to top up my account?" She says if I top up with $50, I will get $10 free. I take a look at my wallet. I only have $28 left. I said to myself, it seems like I don't have enough money. I said, "No thanks, I will top up with $5. The girl looks at another side and says he's broke and still wants to use their internet. She tosses a card and says this is a temporary membership card. I looked at her and said to myself, didn't she change her attitude too quickly? One really will get degraded if he doesn't have money. I am using a computer. I utter shit. I need to take the martial arts exam. This world has some unspoken rules that everyone understands, no matter what I want to do. I would need to be a martial artist first and foremost. The martial artists here are similar to the wuxia novel from my past life. Martial artists seem to have a high standing and great power in this society. Martial arts have been divided into 9 grades, with grade 1 being the lowest and grade 9 the highest. In this world, only a martial artist is allowed to open a company, and one can only become the governor of a province once he has reached grade 4. It is also the same in the entertainment industry. Wu Yifan is in grade 2, Deng Ziqi is in grade 3, and Kai Sukun is in grade 1. NCE, National College Entrance Examination in Martial Arts, is the only hope that a lot of people have to succeed. I said to myself, this is why Yang Jian said that this is the only chance they have to become someone powerful. I grabbed my head and said to myself, but there is no way that it would be easy to take the martial arts exams. $10,000 is the registration fee, and there are only 2 days left until the registration opens for the limited time of only 1 day. Characters like the friendly neighborhood shield hero and the slime were reborn with cheats, so why do I have to have such a disadvantage? Where can I get that kind of money? I said to myself, oh right, maybe my family is rich in this world. I might even live in a resort. I am standing in front of a shabby building. I looked at the building and said to myself, looks like I think too much. I opened the door. A TV appears lying in front of the sofa with a blue chair. This familiar damp smell makes it seem like it's still this house. Someone is running. A girl stands in front of me. A girl shouts my name loudly and calls me a thief. The girl says I should give her back her money. I looked at the girl and said to myself, this girl has a rounded face. I pinched the cheeks of the girl and stretched them. I miss this feeling. This is my sister, Fang Yuan. I always regretted that she lost this cute face when she grew up. My sister shoves my hands and shouts my name, and she tells me to give her back her money. She furiously said to me, don't act dumb. Mom gave us $50 to split between the two of us, so why is there only $5 on her table? I think to myself that some of that $28 is hers. I said to my sister, I don't know, maybe she already spent it, try looking for it again. She goes to Mom, who is cooking, and says, say something to me. I said to myself, it seems that I have bullied this girl to that point over just a bit of allowance. Mom says to Fang to throw a tantrum. Her father will be here for dinner soon. This is my mother, Li Yuyin. She looks so young. I remember that during this time, in order to care for Fang Yuan and myself, my mother had to go work a part-time job with a monthly pay of only $800. How can I possibly ask for $10,000? A man comes and says, Yuyin, is dinner ready? This is my father. My father is Fang Mingrong, a common worker at a factory for poultry. Due to this, he inhales a lot of dust every day and is risking his health all for a monthly salary of $3,000. I call my dad. Dad says to me, why haven't I put my school stuff down? I clean up quickly and get ready for dinner. I said to my dad, I only just got back home. My sister runs towards Dad and says, Dad, Fang Ping stole her money again. Say something to him. My dad says, Ping Ping? I said to Dad, don't listen to her nonsense. I am eating dinner with my family. I think in my mind that I have to accept that if I can't be a martial artist, there is nothing that I can do, let alone change my family's life. I swallow the food and say, Dad, I would like to take the martial arts exam. My family, including my dad, my sister, and my mom, looks at me with astonishing faces. I said to myself that it looks like it would be too much of a pipe dream for my family to pay the registration fee, so I would better think of another way. I laughed and said, I was just saying don't mind me. My dad pushes the card onto the table. I looked at it. My dad says to me, the registration fee is $10,000, right? My dad says he already heard all about it from his colleague. He didn't bring it up because I didn't mention it. My dad says to me, take the card and withdraw the money tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I pass or not. It's worth it as long as I have the heart. I said to myself, even though my family is so poor, my dad just gave me the money and even wants to make sure that I am not stressed. I said to myself, if I don't pass, what would I have left to repay them for their understanding and support? I gripped the card tightly and said to myself, rest assured, I will definitely succeed. ATM appears. I am standing outside the ATM with the cash in my hand. The moment that I touched the money, a notification appeared before my eyes. Condition fulfilled, Tianjian Daching, attempting neural connection, Qinshijin Xing Shenjing Lianjia, connection successful, Lianji Qinggong. I used to read a lot of stories about people who had been reborn in my past life. Wealth, 2,000 qi and blood, 1 psyche, 1. This should be my cheat system. My shabby house appears. I am lying on my bed in my room. I am looking at the notification of my health, qi, blood, and psyche while holding money in my hand. According to what just happened at the ATM machine, the amount I have for wealth is dependent on the money that I have at hand, and if the money does not belong to me, it will not count, even if I have it in my hands. And if the amount of money is not enough, it will not be recorded either. Since there has been a change in the wealth stat, the qi, blood, and psyche stats should also be able to increase. I coughed and said to my system, "Can he increase my blood and qi, please?" My health is now 10,000, but my blood, qi, and psyche are still 1. I looked at it. I started doing worship on my bed, and I said, "Uncle System, I would like to use my wealth to start increasing my blood and qi." I stood up on one leg on a chair, raised my hand, and said, "God above? Amitabha?" I said, "Little rabbit, be good." I looked at the notification. I said to myself, "Why has nothing happened?" I shout loudly, "Add something to my blood and qi. If he doesn't, I will beat it to death." The notification turns red, and the numbers start changing. I look at this. Ding. Blood and qi are now at 1.1. I look at this with my eyes. Blood and qi have increased. My heart starts pumping with more speed. I looked at my hands and said to myself, "This is the feeling of having my blood and qi increased." The 10,000 in my wealth only increased my blood and qi by 0.1. I took a long breath and said to myself, there was only a 0.1 increase, yet it already feels so comfortable. I opened my eye and said it couldn't be. I look at my money. I said, luckily the money is still there. How would I explain it to my parents if it disappeared? It seems that using the money in the system won't decrease the money I have in real life. Fan Yuan is standing at my door, and she is listening to my words. Fan Yuan thinks in her mind, and Fan Ping finally loses his mind and why school appears. A boy says, "Quiet down, everyone. The students who are registering for the martial arts exam, can they please go to the teacher's office to register?" I stand up on my desk. Chen Fan looks at me and says, "Bathroom again?" I looked at Chen Fan and said, "What?" "I am going to register." Chen Fan looks at me with a wondering face. The teacher's office appears. Students are filling out the registration forms. One girl says to me, she never thought that I would come to register. She asked me, "How much is my blood and qi?" I am holding a pen in my hands. I thought, what should I say? 1.1 seems very low. Yang Jian comes and sits with me. He puts his arm on my shoulder and says he doesn't think that Fan Ping has checked it yet, otherwise he would have already said something. A boy sitting close to us said that when he went to the hospital to check last, he got 108, but since I am so scrawny, I definitely wouldn't score higher than him. I said to myself, 108? Such a massive difference? A boy with silky hair says, "Why not come check it out at his house after school?" The boy who was taunting me loudly says, "My God, Wu Zhihao, his family bought a blood and qi meter." Wu Zhihao says he has to check his blood and qi frequently, so his father bought a small one, but it's not as great as the one at the hospital. Boy says even then, the cheapest one still cost a few $100,000. I am shocked, I said to myself. What sort of thing costs that much? In my past life, the most expensive blood pressure meter was only a few $100s at most. Does Wu Zhihao's have a mind? Note, an expression to say that he is rich. I am standing with Zhihao in his house in front of the blood and qi meter machine. I am sitting on a blood and qi meter machine. Wires are attached to my neck and arms. Wu Zhi is looking at the screen. I ask Zhihao, has the result come out yet? Zhihao is standing speechless. Zhihao says to himself, Fan Ping actually has a blood and qi value of 113. I am walking with Wu Zhihao to his house. Zhihao shows me his blood and qi meter machines. I am sitting on a blood and chi meter machine. Wires are attached to my neck and arms. Shi Hao gave me a signal. Shi Hao types something, then pulls the lever. The machine starts working. I close my eyes. Shi Hao looks at the screen and says to me, my blood and chi values are actually 113. I think in my mind, so that's how it works. The value of the system is different from that of reality. The system recorded 113 as 1:1. In other words, the ratio is around 1:100 between the system and reality. Shi Hao looks at me and asks, why am I not reacting? Shi Hao told me that my blood and chi are the second best in the class. I am slow on the uptake. My father, Fang Mingrong, is sitting on his bed with cash in his hands. My father says he had heard from the workshop director that taking the martial art exam would require him to spend a few $1,000s on the Richmond since Ping Ping has decided to take the martial art exam. They can't ignore him. My mother gives some money to my father and tells him, they only have 20,000 in this house. If that is still not enough, then she will withdraw some more money. My sister Fang Yuan says to me, stop lying. I can take the martial exams with 110. How could I possibly have 113? I pinch my sister's cheeks and say to her, I'm sorry, but his brother is a genius, and I have a high chance of passing this year's exam. While me and my sister were fighting on the sofa, my mother came and said to me, come here, his father, and she has something to say to him. My sister says to my mother, Mom, Fang Ping is bullying her again. I said, coming? I said to myself, what is this going to be about? I looked at my parents and said to myself, what's up with this tense atmosphere? My father looks at me and says, Ping Ping is here. My father puts some cash in my hand and says this is a small token from his mother and father. My father says to me, take it first, use this money to buy some nourishment, and if this is not enough, just let them know. This money increased my wealth by $20,000. My father says to me, in the past, they had almost damaged my future because of their negligence, so now they will support me fully when taking the martial arts exam. I said, Dad, I am sitting at my table, and money is lying in front of me. I said to myself, if I use this money to buy some medicine and I end up buying something with a poor effect, I imagine in my mind what would happen if I took the pill and farted. That would be such a waste. I said to myself, this system is far more reliable. I am looking at the notification of my wealth, 20,000, blood and chi, 1, and psyche, 1.my school appears. I am walking on the stairs. I am tired. Yesterday, when I tried to increase my psyche by 0.1, it deducted 10,000 from my wealth, just like what happened with my blood and chi. The only difference is that I felt like a girl's soft hand was rubbing my head lightly, and my mind seemed to be running through a field. Concentration, comprehension, and memorization have all increased significantly. I ended up learning physics all night. Someone tripped on the stairs, and he took me with him. The boy falls on the ground. The boy's arm is on my chest. Blood comes out of my mouth. The boy is Yang Jian. I shouted and said to him, fucker Yang Jian, is he dumb? Yang Jian says to me, I am a brat. I am good at deceiving people. I actually had a score of 113. Yang Jian says to me, he only has 110. Tell him, do I practice secretly at night? Shi Hao and other students are coming down from the stairs. Shi Hao says good morning to me. I thought, what else could I expect? If one person knows, everyone knows. Someone grabs Yang Jian from behind and throws him away. I am shocked to look at this. This guy has visible muscles, a strong back, blood, and chi 108, and I am lying in front of him with a thin body, weak arms, chi, and blood, 113. I asked this guy, why is he looking at me like that? Guy says, it's just not fair. An old professor appears holding some books. He looks at us and says, all of them are here, perfect timing. The old professor gives those books to me and says, take these. I looked at the book. The book's name is The Basic Theory of Martial Arts, Volume 1. The old professor says to me, "Take these books home and read them. Those who have had tuition in martial arts have already studied them. Since I have registered for martial arts, I must study hard." I said to myself, although I started a bit later than the others, this teacher will do his best to help me. I look at the teacher with a smiley face. I said to myself, I didn't really have any ties with my teacher in my past life, but I have to admit that he is a good teacher. The teacher says, right, the rest of us don't have to take classes today. Instead, he will give us all a mission. I am looking at the teacher with a questioning face. The teacher says he has done the research for Xiaozhang, Dean, for quite some time, and he finally has an opportunity for all of us. The teacher went to the Nanjiang University of Martial Arts to fetch Wang Jinyang. The railway station appears. It is quite noisy here. Someone's foot appears. He says it's been a long time since he last returned to Yang City. A guy appears to be standing with a suitcase. Guy says nothing has changed. This guy is Wang Jinyang. Nanjiang University of Martial Arts, first year. The whole class loudly shouts, "Senior Wang, over here, over here." Wang turns around and says everybody has worked hard. I looked at Wang and said to myself, he is Wang Jinyang? He looks pretty normal. Even if he is a martial artist, he's only a brat who just went to university. In school, when I ask about Wang Jin, everyone shouts at me and says, "What?" I am asking who Wang Jinyang is. I said, "Should I know?" A girl laughs and says, "Since it's like that, let her, Aing, tell him about it." We are traveling by bus. Aing points at me and calls me Fang Ping. Aing says, "Wang Jinyang, a male, 19 years old, 178 centimeters, citizen of Yang City, likes to eat apples and parsley. He almost has nothing that he dislikes. His favorite thing to do is to train his body, and although Senior is not rich, he didn't give up on learning martial arts. During the last exam, he got accepted into Nanjiang University as the #1 martial artist. He is also the first one to get into Nanjiang University as a student in the normal class. Even when Senior was at a martial arts university, he still didn't slack off on his training. He's only in his first year of university, and he's already a martial artist. Aang gives a hug posture and says, "Tell her, how can the world have such an outstanding person like Senior?" Bang! I hear a loud voice. I turn around and look at the back. All of them are popping party poppers and celebrating around Wang Jinyang. Wang Jinyang is sitting between them, and they are saying, "Wang Jinyang is the best." They say, "Welcome back, Senior Wang. Please give them a speech." Wang laughs and says to them, "They are too courteous. We are traveling by bus." Someone says, "All right, let's take advantage of this opportunity, Senior. Please tell them his secret to getting into a martial arts university." Wang says, "Secret." Wang says everybody should know martial arts 5 big tests: politics, culture, profession, experience, and physicality. Wang says the 2 hardest parts of these 5 are experience and physicality. Wang says everyone presents qi and blood values of about 110, but to pass their mission requirements, it's dangerous. Everyone is listening to Wang. Wang says, but if one can use his emotions, the results may be different. Everyone is silently listening to Wang with full consciousness. Wang says happiness, anger, sorrow, excitement. If these emotions reach the limit, their qi and blood will be exhausted. Wang says, especially anger, it's simple and has great results. For example, imagine the feeling of getting humiliated. I thought in my mind. Imagine? Feel? Wang says that if one has experience, the physical test won't be that hard. It's just an explosive force, endurance, and body flexibility examination. Wang says, of course there is also some trash. They grow up eating medicine and are only great in terms of their qi and blood but not capable of other things. Wang says if he hands us a chicken and tells us to kill it, and we fail, Wang will still want to kill people. Wang says that killing people is much harder than killing a chicken. I get shocked after hearing these words. I said to myself, this guy is saying it so naturally, like he's actually been killed before. I said to myself, in this world, where martial artists are restricted by the law, they shouldn't have the chance to kill people, right? Not to mention that he is only a university student and why shabby house appears. My sister Fang Yuan asked me, why am I back? Don't I need to go to school? I said to her, just send a senior back home from a martial arts university. I still need to bring him to school later to give a speech. I am lying on my bed. I remember Wang saying that killing people is harder than killing chickens. I said to myself, killing people, how can Wang Jinyang say it so naturally? I got up and said, there's only one possibility. He was killed before. The phone starts ringing. A guy picks up the phone. Someone from the other side of the phone says, Mr. Wang, sorry to bother him, but there is some new information. The suspect ran to Changshan. There are 2 provinces connected by Changshan if the suspect runs away. One says to him, didn't he say no to trying anything until he got there? The suspect will stay at the same location, so just watch him. The guy from the other side of the phone says, he's sorry, Mr. Wang, but if he escapes this time and the higher-ups blame them, then they are doomed. Wang says to the guy, that's his problem. How about this? He will pay them $5,000 if they catch him, dead or alive. I am sitting on my bed and thinking with close eyes. I am gathering thoughts. My fingers are over my head, and a red light emerges from my head. Notification of my wealth, blood chi, and psyche is in front of me, and red lights are emerging from my body. My wealth starts disappearing. My wealth dropped to 0, my blood and chi are now 1.2, and my psyche is 1.1. My heart starts bursting. I can't take breath. My veins are fully swollen, and I am getting suffocated. I grab the sheets from my bed. I lay down on my bed. Neurons are sending signals through my nerves. I feel like my body is attached to too many nerves. Red blood cells are traveling in my veins. I opened my eyes and said to myself, it hurts. I am lying on my bed and breathing heavily. My veins are swollen. I got up and said to myself, the last time I added chi and blood to my body, everything was fine, but why does it hurt so much this time? I saw my hands and said to myself, it couldn't be the negative effects of adding chi and blood together, could it? I feel like I am slowly getting used to it. I grab my arm, and I feel my blood surging through my body. I shout, oh right. I almost forgot that I still needed to bring senior Wang Jinyang to school. A guy wearing a black cap and black glasses walks in. He is covering his face with a black mask, and he is holding a box. I wear my uniform. I pass by the masked guy. My shoulder smashed into the masked guy. I said sorry to him. The masked guy kneels down and says it doesn't matter. The masked guy hides a knife in his arm. I think to myself, is he the new tenant living upstairs? It feels a little weird. Masked guy rotates his eyes and looks back. Wang Jinyang enters the bus and says, oh, sorry for being late. A girl taps on her side seat and lovingly says, Senior Wang, over here. Yang Jian says their school sure is great. They invited Wang Jinyang to their school to help give them a lecture before the martial artist examination. I ask, so great about a graduate returning to his old school? Yang Jian says to me, a common graduate coming back might not be so special, but Wang Jinyang is different. He is a martial artist. Yang Jian says to me, think about it carefully. There are very few martial arts schools in Yangon. Also, Wang Jinyang is just a first-year university student, and he is already a martial artist. He is literally amazing. I look at Wang Jinyang and think, a martial artist. Wang Jinyang taps on my shoulder. Wang Jinyang says he knows that all of us are doing our best to become martial artists. Wang tells us, however, to keep in mind that our bodies are still the foundation for it. Wang Jinyang calls me Fang Ping. Wang says to me that he doesn't know what medicine I took, but to have my chi and blood increase so much in such a short span of time, I said to myself, he found out. Wang Jinyang sits and says, those medicines cannot be taken casually. A single mistake could be extremely grave in itself. Wang says that if we only took medicines and ignored training, it would lead to our deaths due to our negligence. I turned around and said to Wang Jinyang, "Thanks for his warning, Brother Wang." I said to myself, he sure is a martial artist. He sensed the amount of blood and chi in my body perfectly, and why shabby house appears. I am practicing at night. I am doing exercise, including ups and downs and push-ups. I am soaking my sweat with a towel. I said to myself, I don't feel too tired. Is this due to the amount of chi and blood in my body? As I had expected, I still need to listen to Wang Jinyang and train physically. I feel like someone is watching me. I turn around. I saw a man standing at the window, but his face was on the other side. I said to myself, isn't that the same guy from the morning? I think I just sensed bloodlust. I opened the door and thought, never mind. I am just probably reading into it too much. There is news on TV. It has been reported that a grade 2 martial artist was killed by his partner after a robbery due to an unequal share of the loot. According to the investigation by the police, the subject was last seen in Yang City, Changshan. They advised the people living in the neighborhood near Yang City, Changshan, to take appropriate safety measures, like shutting the door and windows properly before sleeping. Fan Yuan is eating snacks and watching the news while lying on the sofa. Fan Yuan says to me that she doesn't think she should go to school during this time. If something happened to her, the entire world would be devastated as her cuteness levels go through the roof. I said to my sister, don't worry. The only thing she has is her flesh, nothing else. Fan Yuan throws her snack towards me and loudly calls me stupid. She tells me to kill myself. I dodged my sister perfectly. I hear the news reporter saying that an enthusiastic netizen analyzed the video through his own software. They even got a crystal clear photo of the weapon used. It is written on the TV screen, and a picture of the weapon used by the perpetrator is obtained. I look at the TV screen. I look at the weapon of the perpetrator, and I remember seeing that knife somewhere.